I would like to recap from the previous slides. We have seen some of these areas as tasks for the startup of the PRINCE2 methodological project. We have seen nominating the PRINCE2 project executive and the PM. We have seen capture previous lessons. We have seen design and allocate project management team. Now we are going through with the outlining business case, how to outline the business case, such kind of things. Let us see this particular content. During this outlining business case stage, the PM and executive can consider the initial business case where it was defined by the business sponsor or business owner and the requirement made towards setting up of this project. So what is the purpose, requirement, scope, objective, such and vision also can be there. If it is a large project, those can be identified by these two roles. The business case can be extended now and can be made very detailed and to be understood by the entire project organization. Let us say if there is a high level business case, the roles what we are nominating in the PRINCE2 project cannot understand the purpose, objective, scope, constraints, such kind of things. But if it is detailed very low level, all people will have transparency on that. So it should be very transparent while preparing for the team's understanding purpose and to make them responsible on their roles also. Let us say if I have defined some technical roles, some business analyst roles, some designer roles at each stage of the project, so their role will exist at the stage. If detailed business justification is not given in the document, they will not understand the purpose and maybe they feel like they are checking out from the project or laying off from the project or something. Wrong intimation, wrong communication might happen to the team also. It can create a bad culture within the project. To cope up with that kind of things, we need to be very clear while defining the business case. It should be very transparent. We have seen in the previous slide the purpose of the business case definition in detailed towards the team purpose and towards the project operation and following the methodology of the PRINCE2 at different stages of the project. So these each activity wise justifications details clearly to the team understanding and their performance acceleration also. Now let us move forward with the definition of the project approach and team orientation. During this stage, the PM and the executive need to define the project approach. During this documentation definition, they can use the past lessons learned from the similar previous projects. Let us say how to execute the project, how to control the resources, how to monitor the resources, how to monitor the activities, how to see the progress. There are so many ways in project management. One need to maintain it and track it timely and identify the risks and mitigate the risks and show the solutions and overcome with the constraints or sudden showstoppers from the project. So in such kind of situations, how to take approach, how to follow, that kind of guidelines will be given from the project approach document. If there are no past experiences gained, need to have external consultants support while doing the approach documentation. Let us say you don't have anything, you have a new setup, newly recruited team, and they don't have experiences in the past project management areas, and they did not execute the projects using PRINCE2 methodologies, or they never participated in this kind of methodologies also following. Such kind of situations, if it is there, you have hired a external, let us imagine you have hired an external consultant, experienced consultant to work with the teams, and through that consultant this project approach documentation also can be defined or updated with detailed process steps with the detailed guidelines to the operational teams. And also please note that it should contain the supporting process steps also towards successful execution of the project. Obviously the purpose of the approach document is to define the different levels of the process steps to be followed, to define the guidelines, to define some kind of teams support where this particular step or particular group of steps will support the team, what to go next, a kind of roadmap also. The timely risk mitigation and resolutions finding approach on how to check the continuous business case justification at each stage of the project towards meeting the ROI of each activity can definitely help the entire team. Let us say we have discussed many times about the risk mitigation and resolutions finding after identifying the risks, and how to check the continuous business case justification at each stage of the project towards meeting the ROI of each activity. If you have a particular stage of the project and in that project stage the budget was defined in the business case, what is the costing control levels also has been defined it, and the constraints also have been defined it. So the project manager responsibility is to control the project budget, at the same time to monitor the resources costing also. If it is increasing above the barometer, it need to be controlled upfront itself, and they should keep some kind of buffer for all those things to manage the project for sudden risks or sudden expenses or unauthorized or unexpected expenses where it is going to incur it due to unavoidable risks were identified it or occurred it. In such case of return on investment for each activity also need to be measured. Those guidelines should be defined in the approach document. The incorporation of resource contingency planning and release approach can help or support the teams and management also. A resource contingency plan means if you found one technical resource, highly techy guy, let us say one DBA, database administrators, they are very hot in the market, and the resource was sick for 1 week, unexpected leave, then what you are going to do? Nobody is there in the project. So you need to plan in advance for each resource contingency planning, like backup resources or backup people. Each of them need to share the activities. So when they have a backup roles, each person need to understand the backup roles also apart from the main roles. Such kind of culture need to be developed it through the approach documentation, and that should be shared to the team's orientation purpose. The continuous cost control approach also can give clarity to the management on identifying the extra cost at different stages and the more ROI from different stages. Let us say if you have different activities or stages, at one activity it might be costing more because of the unavailability of the people. You hide at the 11th hour by paying more money, more salary for the resource, and automatically the cost is increased it. Now you are in excess cost. So there is another activity where you are going to save it, and that savings can be substantiated through this costly activity. So such kind of things on ROI you need to measure it under P&L, profit and loss balancing. So these kind of things are very important, very critical for the project manager also, not only for the project director and project board and project sponsor, business owners, such kind of people. This approach documentation helps a lot to track against to the business case justification also. Now let us move forward with other things. Please look for the part 5 of this video, and I have made it already, and you can look for that.